Okay, I am not turning human to go through Darkroot Garden.
Oh yeah, Darkroot Garden is a big PvP area, so you're gonna get it.
Yeah, Darkroot Garden is actually a sort of developer-intended PvP zone because there is a covenant you can join that is specifically based around attacking non-covenant members who decide to go into it.
Did we do the Hydra and Havel last time?
Oh yeah, we did.
Oh,
all
we
that.
did? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Again, it was so long ago.
Yeah, now we just need to go get the Crest of Artorias.
And Sith is interesting. I'm not sure game-wise if there's really ever any hint that you need to go there to get to Anor to do Londo. I'm not sure what in the
No,
game
I don't think so.
there was, if you remember, the first blacksmith, Andre, sells a crest for a lot of souls, which I never have at the time. But that crest is a way to get to Artorias' grave. You can also get there without that. You just go sort of in a circuitous route.
Yeah, you don't have to use it. I'm gonna go buy it because I've got plenty.
Yeah, and it is sort of shorter. Because
Yeah.
otherwise you have to go through the Hydra and climb up a ladder and go the long way around.
You gotta climb up the longest ladder in history.
I'm sure there's a longer one somewhere.
Maybe the one in Metal Gear Solid 3.
That's a pretty big ladder.
That's a pretty big ladder. Actually, as long as I'm just running around, I'm gonna swap out our shield for the Grass Crest shield so that I get
What?
a stamina regeneration bonus.
Just use Chloranthy.
Look, I'm already using Havels in the Ring of Favor and Protection to not fat roll.
Alright, so that's Andre. And I think we mentioned it already that in the developers had originally intended for him to be Gwyn's son, but then that fell through.
Yep, and we do not have enough Twinkling Titanite. And I'm going to go burn some of our souls to get to 20,000. I think the hints in the game that you need to do this are that Ingward says that you need to learn what happened to Artorias. And this is the crest of Artorias, so I think you're supposed to go find the crest and know that you need to go through the door that the crest opens.
Right, well, some of us just have
What does
internet.
the crest say? Yeah, the crest opens the door in the Darkroot Garden single blade. Yeah, the door leads to the grave of Sir Artorias the Abyss Walker. Yeah, so that's your hint in game. Is Ingward says you need to figure out what happened to Artorias, and if you buy the crest, then it says this crest opens the door to Artorias' grave. So that's your indication of.
And Artorias, as we mentioned, was one of the four, like, heavenly knights of Gwyn.
Yeah, the four main knights of Gwyn, along with Ornstein and
Ciaran and Goff.
yeah, I think it's Kieran.
Sure.
Yeah, but anyway, really.
And they each... Gwyn's knights are all... They don't ever really seem to have been so cohesive a group. We know that Goff and Ornstein were known for their dragon slaying, as Ornstein is known as the Dragon Slayer.
Yeah.
And in the DLC we learned that Goff is good at killing dragons too. Artorias seemed to be more of a bit of a, pun intended, lone wolf in his travels with his dog, Loyal Companion. And Ciaran was like a ninja.
She was an assassin.
Person. So she was like the ninja corps leader.
Yeah, I
so
think
it's not really like a group of four that traveled the land together to
yeah, I think
in adventures or
yeah,
whatever.
they're really like they're the four like most capable of Gwyn's knights.
But there's no hint that they were ever like a cohesive group and worked together exclusively or anything like that.
Yeah, now this area, again, if you're alive here, you can get invaded, And in any case, this area is crawling with NPCs that are members of the Forest Hunter Covenant. That
And
will.
some of them are mages, some of them have arrows. You can get the best bow in the game here. I think it's the bow of Ferris.
Yeah, the Black Bow of Ferris. And sometimes they can be very difficult to see. And there are a few of these NPCs that are actually translucent, just to make it even harder to detect them.
But really, just try to go here slowly and carefully.
Yeah, and
Not
if
aggro all of them.
if you run straight over here and join the Forest Hunter Covenant, they will not attack you because
Right.
you will be on their team.
Because you talk to the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, but I'm going to kill all of them
Because you're merciless.
well, we might as well explore this area while we're here. And then we can join the Covenant after we have brutally murdered all of them.
Ornstein takes no prisoners.
Is that your role play?
Well, I don't know. He doesn't. I mean, he attacked you without even saying anything.
He sure did.
He doesn't sound like the type to take prisoners. Like, what if you were going there just to, like, help Guinevere out? You know, but he just attacks you. Doesn't care.
Yeah, and these translucent warriors actually won't respawn, but all the other NPCs will.
Mm-hmm.
Man, look at that fat row.
He needs
Ooh.
a Havel's ring. How come your hitbox doesn't hit people 5 feet beyond your reach?
I don't know. I wish it did, since it seems to be that way for most other people. Yeah, here is where you get Ferris's bow.
And it is the best bow in the game. Or I don't know if it's the best. It's pretty good.
I think it's the best. I think it has the longest reach, and it has the best...
And it doesn't need crazy stats like the Dragon Slayer does.
but it also has the best dexterity scaling. So we're going to explore a bit here. This area, if you don't go slowly or don't know what you're doing, there are a lot of these guys that can surround you pretty quick.
And those are ex-gardeners.
Yes.
We're gonna... God, we're gonna get to know this area very well in the DLC.
We are.
And there you can see the ruins of sort of places we've already been.
Yeah, we'll look at them in a second. Oh, see? Just...
There's a lot of them. It's a vegetarian gang squad.
Now that move where they lift their hands above their heads and sort of wave them around, that's a grab.
And it's pretty much an insta-gib. Well, at least early on it is. But
yeah,
at this
early
point,
on,
probably.
it's
you could
an-
probably survive it at this
It's
point.
an insta-kill. I mean, so we can see there's the parish, and then there's the burg, and then this is the eastern armor.
Which is actually kind of cool looking, too.
And then look, down there is the lake where we fought the Hydra.
Yep. It's all coming together.
Yep. Everything is interconnected.
Again, this game is just... The levels are incredibly designed and integrated into one cohesive whole. Which, unfortunately, they didn't bother to do with the sequel. But why bring that bitterness?
So, yeah, and then here's the waterfall that's next to... Whoa, 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 whoa. The lake...
You didn't want to be left out of the party.
I guess not. Ow.
But again, if you don't get the crest of Artorias, you can go that back way through where the Hydra was and climb up the ladder.
Yeah.
Get to here from there.
Yeah, so that's mostly
Cross over there
this
somehow.
area. Now you just gotta go back. So, yeah, and then this is back where we were. And then if we go in here and talk to...
Did you get the wood grain ring yet?
No.
The ninja? That used to be a ring that was really good until they nerfed it. See, and that's the Cheshire Cat that has her own covenant.
Yes, this is Alvina. Yes, so you can join her covenant. And then the NPCs around here will not attack you. And then if you wear that ring, and if you're in the forest, you can be summoned to another player's world as sort of a invasion. Yeah, and then she says, don't kill your own. And then this spawns our good buddy, Shiva of the East. And he becomes a merchant. Eventually.
And that's the Eastern armor we picked up over there, was his armor.
And then back here is his ninja companion, who has one of the... used to be the best rings in the game, and you could sort of kick him off right here and kill him and get it. But it was nerfed when the DLC came out.
And the reason it was so OP was because it halved your equipment burden. Which meant you could, like, roll.
No, it allowed you to have the fastest roll at 50% instead of 25%, and it made your fastest roll like a ninja flip that I think increased your invulnerability frames considerably. So it was pretty ridiculous.
That's gone now.
Yep. So now I think you still get the ninja flip, but you have to be at 25%. It doesn't, like, stay up to 50, so it's not quite as strong.
Not quite.
And so this area is populated by...
and there's an important ember here you gotta
yes, there are mushroom people here that are constantly on the move toward this central lagoon, where there are two of the big mushroom people that are essentially big falcon punchers, because their attacks hit really hard.
But they just have sort of the one slow attack. And if you kill any of the children mushrooms, it aggroes the adults.
Yeah, because the children will, like, cry out, and it will draw the attention of the adults. But here they guard.
And gold pine resin is pretty good. That's a good item to get. And in that chest is that the divine ember or which one?
I think it's the... No, what is it?
Well, I guess we'll find out.
I guess we'll find out. The enchanted ember. Oh, I thought that was in... Oh, I thought that was in Duke's Archives, but I guess not.
And that lets you enchant weapons, which makes them scale off end, run it as magic damage.
Yes. The magic ember allows you to enchant weapons to have magic damage instead of just physical damage. And the enchanted ember doesn't add magic damage to your weapon, but it makes the physical damage scale off your intelligence rather than off of strength or dexterity.
And if you're doing a sorcerer thing, like enchanted is sort of better, because it's once you get a lot of faith, it's just really good. And this is the looks pretty ominous giant door with a light behind it.
And so
wonder what's back here.
We enter here, and we see several swords and gravestones, including one large central gravestone and one enormous sword.
We won't get the really sweet video that made me cry.
I know.
We would have had to bypass
New Londo
and do it the other way to not learn about the dark wraiths and stuff. But if you go to the Duke's Archives first and then start the DLC, in the DLC you meet Sif as sort of a smaller puppy when he was a companion to Artorias. And you can actually summon Sif to help you fight Manus, the last boss. And if you do that before this fight, you'll see the video we're about to see where Sif sort of sees you and attacks you. If you do this part after the DLC, Sif will recognize you as his former friend, and it's like a heartbreaking video, because you still have to fight him after. But it's just a really sweet video. But unfortunately, well, you could probably see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But instead, we're just going to get the thing where a giant wolf just shows up and looks angry.
Well, I think Sif is interesting, sort of a bridge storytelling, in that we still get that he's not like a monstrous creature. It's obvious that he's protecting this grave, and not just sort of a evil creature we have to defeat.
Right, and we're not really sure why he grew so big and why the Artorias sword is so huge. It's all sort of, I guess, just because bosses have to be giant.
Ow,
I'm not sure if lore-wise there's any reason for him to be enormous.
But yeah, I think we're expected to see him as something a bit more noble than just, you know, like a dragon or some other sort of monster.
Right, and the strategy for this fight, it's pretty much the same whether you're sorcerer or melee. It's you kind of should stick close to him, because if you're far away, he has a lot of sort of gap closing attacks that will not keep you far anyway. So just stay near him. It's pretty easy to roll out of his sword attacks, and then you just hack away and or spell away.
Yeah.
He's really not too tough a boss. I mean, if you can do Ornstein and Smo, this one will not a problem. Well, you would think.
You would think. And Sif's also the only boss who has this rather interesting thing where, God, just once you get him down to, I believe it's like 10%, he actually changes his patterns, and I'll show it here. He actually starts falling over and limping, and his attacks are much slower and tend to sort of take more out of him.
Because again, you're supposed to feel really sorry, and it's supposed to make you cry.
Yeah, that it's storytelling to make this boss more sympathetic and expand his story without, 20 minutes of cutscenes and really awkward dialogue. It's just, this is the one boss who really feels the pain of you hitting him, and it makes us reevaluate what he is and what he's doing here and what we're doing here.
He's just protecting his friend's grave. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, and I think making him a protector of a grave in and of itself.
Right, and of course, as we said, if you do the DLC first, that just kind of adds to it. Because if you do the DLC, you already know the story. And it just makes it even more kind of tragic that your former ally you have to fight.
Yeah, and so we get his soul, and we learn that he's Sif, the Great Grey Wolf who guards the grave of Artorias, and that he, and then we also get the Covenant of Artorias, which represents Artorias' covenant with the beasts of the Abyss, which allows us to traverse the Abyss, which is the only way that we can reach the bottom of the Abyss in New Londo. And then behind here we find the Hornet Ring, which is...
belonged to a certain someone.
Yes. It belonged to Lord's Blade Kieran, and in fact this is Kieran's only mention in regular Dark Souls without the DLC. And the fact that her ring is placed here at the grave of Artorias led many to speculate early on that she and Artorias had some sort of close, possibly romantic connection, and the DLC tends to support that.
Yeah, pretty much.
So now I'm just going to homeward bone out of here.
And again, those are presumably all the swords of the others who have tried to approach the grave as you have, but they just didn't have what it took.
Nope. So now we're ready to head
I
back
never
to...
even knew this bonfire was here until you did this.
I can't believe you didn't know.
I never used it. I just always used the church one.
Wow. Oh wait, I guess we'll just get some vitality, since there's no need for anything else. Alright, and so we're back to this bonfire, and we will pick this up and take on the Four Kings in the bottom of New Londo next time.
Yep, we'll do that.
Yep, so we will see you then.